Okay, so here we are with the second to last journal entry. This is number 13. And the main topics I will be discussing today deal with character arcs. Now, the overall importance of this topic with your narrative process is when you're telling a story about a character, you have to develop a character arc for that said person. And essentially, it's very, very important and very, 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 very viable for your character for people to understand and relate to them, to understand their struggles, to understand what they're going for. And with the film I selected for this topic, it generally follows one of the main points of a character arc, and it does it really well. And sadly, it hits home, and it's a little bit more realistic in some ways. So, the film that I picked really does a good job of exemplimenting how a character arc should be. So the main discussion is, or definitions and concepts is for character arc. It's essentially how a character transforms throughout the film. How is that person going to be from the beginning to the middle to the end? How does he start from the beginning and how does he change at the end? And it's a really important concept that's broken down into three ways. The first one is a positive change character arc. Basically, where the person is at the beginning, he's deniable and he or she is really in a bad spot. However, as the film goes on, it leads to them defying the beliefs that they have, defying the expectations people set, and by the end, they become better than what they truly are. A flat character arc is essentially where, when you first meet the character, their story's complete, their transformation's done, and you get to see how they are throughout the rest of the film. It's kind of like a first season where you see a character change, and then the second season is that person completely different, and you go with that. That's what a flat character arc is, where you see the transformation, or the movie begins with that person already in a different change than they already are. And the last one is a negative change character arc, where essentially a character goes from good to bad. And there are some good examples of like a good guy becoming a bad guy, or some aspect of it. So those are really the main arcs that you can see in concepts. And the purpose of these is essentially it's good storytelling and it really builds up your character, someone who we're supposed to relate to, someone we're supposed to understand, the main protagonists that we're following throughout the entire journey of the film. And anybody can recognize these from how they are from the beginning and how they change at the end, which I'll get into with topics later on about how you can recognize just the shift in tone that that person is and how good of a job it is. And the advantages of doing this right is it really sets up really well characters and it allows your actor to kind of become one with the character, to understand the change, to understand the need, to do what needs to be done to make this believable for the people. But the disadvantages of is that, kind of like the movie Man of Steel, where it's like, okay, he's Superman now, but we don't really get a character arc. We don't really see him change. It's just putting on a costume and then just continuing from there. That's just that. So that's the disadvantage. Is it's gonna feel weak. It's gonna feel slow. It doesn't really feel right. But that's just how it can go wrong. And the best strategy I can really give is to really, when you write your character, focus in your brain and on your paper. How is this person going to change by the end of the story? How is this person going to change? Can he go from good to bad, or is he going to go from bad to good? How is it going to end for him? How is it going to go for them? So it's really just thinking about it right in your mind before writing. And then you write your ideas down for that character and how they could change. And that's really all the strategies you would really need for that. So the film I picked is called The Amazing Catfish. It's a Mexican film that basically follows a woman who becomes a caretaker to a mother who is dying of AIDS. And the film presents the character arc for this said woman. Without getting into spoilers, it kind of goes into I would say, a positive change and a flat change. She kind of grows into like getting around this lady, knowing who she is, knowing her kids. But at the same time, at the beginning when we meet her, she's already just normal. And throughout the entire film, she stays that way. but as a positive change, she grows closer to the family in the process. So the movie does a really good job of doing that in showing you different arcs that this main character goes through as she's trying to take care of this old lady, and how yes, that you can already have like a flat arc. You can already just be like yourself and you've changed, but it's the relationship she has with the family that makes it all the more inspiring. And the ending helps conclude that arc of now you're this person, but you're still just the same. So it does a really good job of doing that, and that's really the best elements is the main actress hanging out with the family. You get to see her bonding, growing with them, understanding and accepting them, and they do a really good job of that. I wouldn't really say there's any bad elements, considering that the movie yet again tackles character arcs very well. There are some plot lines in here where it's kind of like I would like to see more of this, but other than that, the best part is really just the family moments that the actress had with the family, and it does a really good job of doing that. So how I use these theories and concepts in my writing process, really, it's all about when you write your character, figure them out first. How are they going to go from A to B or A to Z? How are they going to continue this journey that they're on? So really, it's important to just craft them well and focus on their stories from the very, very beginning before you write anything, before you think of a story. And what I learned from this film regarding me being a writer is that it's something that characters have always been something I've liked to write about. And learning from this film, you can see that you can have different character arcs where the person's already who they are at the beginning, but that doesn't mean you can't have them kind of accept other people into their lives. So that's what the film does a good job at. And the connections I find between this, it kind of reminds me of Doctor Strange, where he starts off as kind of egotistical and like, oh, it's all about me. Where at the end of his film, he's kind of had the complete shift of like, now I have to protect Earth. Same thing with Iron Man, where he's just an egotistical douche, but he starts to grow as the films go on. He starts to be more caring, a mentor. So those are really just the best ways that you can really put someone going from A to B in a good way. And my insights regarding these theories, there were some things I didn't know about, such as the negative change character, or not the negative change, the flat character arc. But it's something I've seen, and it's kind of like I never had the wording for it, so it's something that I've known now. So essentially, your character arcs has to have your character changing throughout the film, or from beginning and then to the end. And it's a really important process that once you start writing your characters, have their plans in your mind already and then write them down so you could get through with them as the film goes through. So my citations is Wieland KM, Creating Character Arcs. My name is Justin Rodriguez, and I'll see y'all one more time. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.